Open on, darkness. The sound of wings flapping. Super. The year is 9999. The world is a hexagon. Exterior desert faction day. A bird bursts up out of the darkness and into the bright sun. The bird is basically an eagle, but much uglier. Her feathers are greasy and brown, her beak misshapen, her body bloated and lumpy. Despite her off-putting appearance, she radiates a unique cuteness. The bird soars over an expansive desert. Across the dunes, a train of camels carries a thirsty-looking family. They look up at the bird as she flies over them. Exterior industry faction, day. The bird glides through the clean desert air only to disappear into a cloud of smog. She's only gone for a beat, until she explodes out of the smog. She coughs a few little bird coughs and looks down at rows of factories that pump smoke into the sky. On the ground, a grizzled older woman, face streaked in soot, steps out of a factory. She squints up at the bird. She watches until the bird disappears into the smog again. She smiles wistfully. Exterior farm faction, day. The bird continues to streak over the smog until it gives way to a blue sky. She looks down to see fields of wheat dotted with tiny houses and lined by wooden fences. The bird flies so close to the wheat that stalks brush her chest feathers. A pair of married farm hands jump back as the bird blows past. The bird flies over a junky tavern, where two men burst out of the door. One tackles the other to the ground. A huge, muscular, kind-faced man in overalls rushes out and pulls the men apart. Exterior ice faction, day. The bird watches as wheat gives way to thick ice and snow. A young girl wrapped in thick winter clothing trots onto the ice toward a cut-out fishing hole. She drops her fishing pole and squints up at the sky as the bird soars past. The girl squeals in delight. Exterior water faction, day. Ice melts into water under the increasingly powerful sun. The bird looks up to see hundreds of yachts that glide across pristine blue water. The bird flies over one, where an old married couple lounges on pool chairs. A young waiter serves them martinis. In the sky, the bird releases its bowels. The excrement falls and splats directly in between the old couple's chairs. They both shriek in disgust. The bird passes over a ship as it pulls into port. A young, androgynous person, tanned and calloused by a life at sea, glances up as the bird flies past. Exterior city, day. The bird flies over the port and is suddenly among huge skyscrapers. She looks down at the streets where cars drive slowly, stuck in heavy traffic. A taxi driver leans out of his window and gives someone ahead of him the middle finger. The bird looks to her left and right to see offices where people sit in cubicles. They watch in wonder as the bird flies past. The bird looks around in wonder at its new surroundings. She's never seen anything quite like it. A completely new world full of... The bird splats against a window and explodes into a green goo. Through the window, interior conference room day, President Priscilla Precious leaps back in surprise as green goo drips down the window she was just standing at.
Jesus Christ!
In a large conference room, two people sit on either side of a long table. One is Kiana Baines, female, late 20s. She wears a smart black pantsuit and has her dark brown hair pulled back in a long ponytail. The other is Beverly St. Chair, male, also late 20s. He wears a preppy green blazer with a vest underneath, complete with a dotted red ascot. His short blonde hair is greased back immaculately. The two advisors look at the window in surprise.
Those damn mutant bird fuckers!
She turns to her advisors.
Can't go one day without a stupid animal being stupid. Mark O!
The door to the conference room flies open and Mark O hurries in. He wears a tuxedo and a bow tie.
Yes, Madam President?
Clean this window.
Kiana looks at Priscilla wide-eyed.
President Precious, don't you think that's a little dangerous? I mean, those birds have been taking out kite surfers left and right.
He's a robot, Kiana.
Right away, Madam President.
Marco spins and exits. Kiana watches him go with pity. Beverly tries to cover his quip with a cough.
Robot lover.
Kiana ignores him. Priscilla takes her place at the head of the table. In the middle of the table sits a hexagonal board. From the middle of the board sprout 6 lines that stretch to the board's vertices. These lines create wedges of space in the board. In these spaces, images similar to the ones we saw the bird fly over are displayed. An image of sand dunes, an image of a factory, an image of a wheat field, an image of snowy mountains, an image of the ocean, and an image of the city.
What were we talking about?
This fake uprising.
What? It's a real uprising. Madam President, if we don't take this seriously, it could be a repeat of the mid-millennium.
If this uprising was real, then how come I haven't heard of it?
I just told you.
I like the way you're thinking, Saint Chair.
In the window behind Priscilla, Mark O lowers himself down on a window washing platform. He scrubs at the window.
You know, you got what it takes. I'm keeping an eye on you. Kiana, you might want to take notes from Beverly here. You might get somewhere if you weren't such a puss all the time.
Kiana's eyebrows raise in shock. Priscilla notices this.
Oh my god, puss as in sour puss, not vag. I'm not calling you a vag.
She's not calling you a vag, Kiana.
In the window, a bird spears Marco through the abdomen. He flies off the platform.
Okay, fine. But I'd still advise you to look at this carefully. These things can get out of control.
But you know what's in control? Little segue there.
Love it.
Getting great yield from all factions. Fish from the ice faction is getting a little low, but wheat yields from the farms are making up for it.
Good shit. God, I am good at leading.
Exterior hallway, later. Beverly and Kiana exit the conference room into a long hallway lined with windows. Outside the conference room door, Ether, male, 50s, guards the meeting with a large gun in hand. He wears civilian clothes and his bald head is littered with scars.
Hey, great job in that meeting, Kiana. You really proved you're right where you belong. Who needs to be a leader when you're such a great advisor?
Kiana smiles thinly at Beverly.
See you tomorrow, Beverly.
Beverly trots down the hallway. He hums happily. Kiana watches him go for a beat, then turns to Ether.
Like I expected. They're not taking it seriously.
Kiana takes a clearance card out of her pocket and slides it into Ether's hand.
Looks like it's up to us. You know what to do?
Ether doesn't answer, just stares straight ahead.
Cool.
Kiana walks off. Exterior city, later. Ether exits the building. He steps over Mark O's robotic remains as he heads down the street with a purpose. Interior subway, later. Ether sits quietly, wedged tight in his seat by people on both sides as the train rattles along the tracks. Exterior warehouse, night. Ether approaches a large warehouse in an abandoned part of town. Interior warehouse, continuous. The warehouse is completely empty. Ether presses an elevator button on the wall. The elevator arrives and Ether steps inside. He taps Kiana's clearance card on a sensor. Then he presses the bottom unmarked button. The elevator rattles to life. Ether stares straight ahead as it descends. The elevator goes further and further down until it flips completely upside down. However, Ether stays rooted on the floor. Gravity is shifted. Ether pulls out his gun, takes a deep breath. The elevator stops. A beat of silence. The door opens and an instant scream. A mutant hyena rushes Ether, who quickly raises his gun and pulverizes it. Ether steps out of the elevator into a barren wasteland. The sky is smoggy and almost black. Wind swirls and picks up dust and tumbleweeds. On every tree sits multiple birds, just like the one we know and love. Ether takes a deep breath and heads off into the wasteland. Cut to black.